Disclaimer, certain characters and images shown in this video are AI generated and are used solely for illustration and storytelling purposes.
Imagine being 30 years old and going back to high school, not as a teacher, not as a parent, but as a student, wearing a uniform, attending classes, taking exams, and the wildest part? Nobody noticed. This isn't a movie plot. This is the real-life story of Brian MacKinnon, better known by his fake identity, Brandon Lee. What made him do it? How did he pull it off? And what happened when the truth came out? Let's dive into one of the most bizarre true stories to ever hit the headlines in the UK. Brian MacKinnon was born on June 3, 1963, in Glasgow, Scotland. He was a bright student who attended Bearsden Academy and later enrolled in the University of Glasgow to study medicine. But somewhere along the way, things fell apart. He reportedly struggled academically and emotionally, eventually dropping out before completing his degree. Now in his 30s, Brian felt like time had passed him by, but instead of moving forward, he went back. In 1993, at the age of 30, Brian re-enrolled at his old high school, Bearsden Academy, using the name Brandon Lee, borrowing the identity of the late son of martial arts legend Bruce Lee. He claimed to be a 17-year-old Canadian who had moved to Scotland with his family. The school accepted him without much questioning. He got a new set of teachers, a new group of friends, and even took his Scottish hires again, acing them. To everyone around him, Brandon was just another slightly awkward, studious teenager. No one suspected a thing. Brandon, or Brian, fully immersed himself in high school life. He joined the drama club, participated in the school musical, went to parties, even had teenage friends who had no idea he was over a decade older than them. He was reportedly quiet and kind, and while a little odd at times, nothing set off alarm bells. In fact, many students admired him. He was smart, well-spoken, and seemed mature for his age, for obvious reasons. But this wasn't just for fun. Brian had a goal. He wanted a second chance at becoming a doctor. This time, he planned to use his new exam results to reapply to medical school, this time as Brandon Lee. In 1995, the story unraveled. Journalists received a tip about a student at Bearsden Academy who looked a little too old to be in high school. A local newspaper launched an investigation, and what they discovered shocked the nation. Brandon Lee was actually Brian MacKinnon, 30 years old, already a former student of the same school, and not Canadian at all. The scandal broke like wildfire. Teachers, students, and parents were stunned. How could no one have noticed? And more importantly, why did he do it? The reaction was mixed. Some people saw Brian as a manipulative fraud. Others saw him as a troubled man chasing a lost dream. Bearsden Academy faced criticism for failing to verify his background properly. And Brian? He was expelled from medical school. Again. But interestingly, he didn't break any specific laws. He hadn't committed fraud in the legal sense, and he hadn't harmed anyone directly. Still, he became a tabloid sensation and a national talking point. The question lingered. Was he a con man or a tragic figure? After the dust settled, Brian MacKinnon faded into relative obscurity. He gave a few interviews and even wrote books. The first, entitled Margin Walker, which he published on the internet in the late 90s, it chronicles his unique experience attending school under a false identity. The second, entitled Rhesus Negative, was published by Austin Macaulay Publishers in 2016, offering a more formal and detailed telling of his story. He's remained largely out of the public eye since then, but his story continues to fascinate. In fact, in 2022, a documentary called My Old School, featuring actor Alan Cumming, was released, retelling the story through animated reenactments and interviews with his former classmates. So, what do you think? Was Brian MacKinnon a genius who bent the system to get a second chance? Or a man who crossed ethical lines in pursuit of a fantasy? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more true stories that make you say, "That can't be real." Thanks for watching.